Hello, and welcome back to Can You Believe It? In this video, we'll be showing you some of the rarest photos of the past. An American soldier kisses his girlfriend on the grass in 1945. Katherine Johnson works with an adding machine and a celestial training device at Langley Research Center in 1962. A group of amputee Vietnam veterans talked together at a hospital in San Francisco in 1967. Marie Curie, a two-time Nobel Prize winner who discovered polonium and radium in her laboratory in 1905. Can you guess how she died? Potatoes being harvested in front of the Swiss Parliament in Bern to combat food shortages during World War II in 1944. African-American boy driving toy police car in 1938. Loggers hold a cross-cut saw across a giant sequoia tree's trunk in California in 1917. A man kisses her wife on Victory Day over Japan in New York in 1945. The all-women student fire brigade in Girton College in 1878. Project Apollo capsule mock-ups made of wood for testing purpose in 1961. Tug of war between two teams of children in 1913. John Kennedy Jr. salutes at the funeral of his father, President John F. Kennedy, in 1963. Children photographed during general knowledge class in 1956. British airmen dropping bombs by hand during First World War in 1916. Lieutenant Quentin Anninson and his fiancée Jackie pose for a self-portrait before he ships out to Europe in 1944. Scott Arthur and his family, who fled Paris after stepsons Herman and Irving lynched, publicly burned alive, and their three sisters gang-raped in the courthouse in 1920. The Great Gama, also known as Ghulam Muhammad Bakhshbut, was a Pelwani wrestler in British India. He was an undefeated wrestling champion of the world in 1910. 10-year-old Garry Kasparov plays Mikhail Tal at a Simul in Moscow in 1974. King Amanullah Khan of Afghanistan and King Victor Emmanuel of Italy in 1928. Female guards of the Majdanek concentration camp gather around the table to celebrate a birthday in 1944. Yu Se-ming, a young worker and proprietor of a tea shop in China in 1941. A flapper getting a tattoo on her thigh in the 1920s. Irma Gries, nicknamed the Beautiful Beast, pictured with Joseph Kramer, who was commandant at Belsen concentration camps. She was hanged in 1945. A truck driver poses for a photo in 1910 for the column of a newspaper. A German soldier completing a giant wave on a horizontal bar in full marching kit in 1934. U.S. Army nurses sunbathing next to a twin 40mm on a Coast Guard troop ship returning from Europe in 1945. Two young girls enjoying with each other in the woods, 1905. A U.S. Marine gives a cigarette to an injured Japanese soldier buried in the sand in 1945. Popular artist Jack Sparrow performing during Rolling Stones concert in Athens, Greece in 1967. Loading the .50 caliber machine guns of a fighter plane at a Pacific base around 1944. Two sisters selling flags during World War I to raise money for Indian soldiers in 1917. A mind-blowing stunt by pilots during aviation parade at Tushino Military Airport in 1933. A moment from the 1930 FIFA World Cup final between Uruguay and Argentina in 1930. A dog with its owners enjoying its best life in 1957. Two children sleep on a bench in a trench shelter. Their mother has tied ropes from the bench to the wall to prevent them from falling off the bench in 1940. Two women in an opium den while smoking opium in 1902. Ethiopian delegates to the coronation of King Edward VII in 1902. A happy Ford FA worker enjoying good time with his family in 1950s. Troops of the 1st South African Infantry Division trying to push a donkey, stubbornly refusing to move, during a patrol in the desert in 1941. French weightlifter and 1920 Olympic champion Ernest Cadine shows off his muscles in 1923. An operator working in operating room when phone calls had to be manually connected in 1967. Released prisoner of war Lieutenant Colonel Robert L. Sturm is greeted by his family at Travis Air Force Base in Fairfield in 1973. The Babe with youth baseball players during the American Barnstorming Tour of Japan, 1934. Malnourished boys due to the Korean War wash each other in a stream in 1952. Children playing among the wreckage of the D-Day invasion of Normandy in 1947. American Boeing B-29 Superfortress strategic bombers dropping their load over Japan in 1945. Rita Hayworth and Pakistani Prince Ali Khan at their wedding reception in 1949. Young daughter of an Indian Maharaja sitting on a leopard that she hunted down in 1920. President George Bush and Pakistani Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto stand together during a welcoming ceremony in White House in 1989. President Richard Nixon looks serious as he eats with chopsticks in Shanghai, China in 1972. Egyptian President Anwar Sadat, President Jimmy Carter, and Israeli Prime Minister Menahem after signing the peace treaty between Egypt and Israel in 1979. Two men carrying their mother with the help of a stick during the India-Pakistan partition in 1947. Dr. Oleg Gizenko, director of Russia's Institute of Biomedical Problems, holding Belka and Strelka, the first dogs to survive spaceflight in 1960. The election of the first beauty queen in communist Poland in 1956. Two Soviet soldiers reset German clocks forward to Moscow time in 1945. Three men practicing for world archery competition in 1870s. The Graf Zeppelin, one of the hydrogen-filled rigid airship, flies over the 1930 FA Cup final at Wembley Stadium. Two young men announced the creation of Newtopia, a conceptual country with no land, no borders, and no passports, in 1973.